Now that we've created the copy of the graph, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to select data. And now we're going to get rid of all the stuff that we don't need because we're just concerned with this portion of the graph right here. So that UTS that we created is still on the all data graph that we just made and relabeled. Now we're just going to delete that UTS. We don't need that. We don't need the break. We can get rid of that. We don't need the estimation break. We can get rid of that. All we need is that data right there. Now what we're going to do is now that we have that, we're going to look at our data and we're going to change our strain by double clicking the axis on the bottom. We're going to set a fixed value for the minimum and the maximum. Maximum is going to be 0.00 or 0.025 actually. Okay? And then you can just click off and then you can see what it looks like. So that's going to be what we're going to set it at. Now that we have that, we're going to close that. And now we're going to fix this data. So we're going to set it at fixed and fixed. We're going to label this as, probably get away with 80, and we're going to fix that at 0. You can adjust that more if you want. We could even do as much as 70 here. It doesn't matter. We're just concerned with making sure that we have our whole graph listed. Okay? Now remember, you don't want these off to the side, so you can delete that. You're going to put it back on the bottom under layout. Under layout, chart title on the bottom. Okay? Now that we have that, or actually the legend I should say, the legend is going to be at the bottom. Chart title we don't need because you're going to be doing that in your graph. So you can delete that too. Delete. Because that's going to be in your report, so you don't need it here. Now that we have that, all we're going to do is we're going to go back to our data 2024-31. We're going to go to wherever there was a linear region. So you'll notice that it's linear around 20,000 to 30,000. That'll give us a good data series. So we'll scroll down to 20,000, which is right around here. Just for a rough, we'll just do that. Let's give it a color. Okay, we'll call this the 0.002. Actually, we can just call this offset, because nothing else has offset. So we'll have offset as our label, right? Now, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to insert a cell. So it did it on the opposite side. Oh well, I can just take Control Z and I can click. Should have formatted it. Insert. There. Okay, so I just had to do that, so that way now I have my new column. So I'll just call this the offset. Alright, now that I have my offset, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit equals, start a new one, and I'm going to click that data value. I'm going to add the plus 0.002. That's going to be added to that value. Now we'll scroll it down. Okay, so that gives us all our values. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that offset graph. We're going to select data. We're going to add a new series. We're going to call this the offset. Okay, we're going to go to our x values. We'll go back to our data. X values are the strain that we just did. Y values are the stresses that we just had. Now we have those values. It added our little series there. You may want to forecast it more, maybe have it down to 20,000 up to 30,000, but for right now it just gives us a good approximation. So we'll hit OK. Now we'll right click on that. We'll say add a trend line. Remember, it's just going to add it between those points, so you need to forecast it forward. Now we've already fixed our axis, so you can just add a 0.01 here, and you can add like a 0.01 here. And it should forecast it and stay pretty linear. You don't want to set an intercept, but you want to display the equation on the chart. You can display the R value if you want to, just to show how well your data series fits the trend line. Now sometimes if you forecast your trend line too much, it changes your trend line and it sometimes offsets it in a way that you don't want. So make sure you keep it pretty much within the boundaries of your graph. Okay, and then you can add a line color, so we want to add a solid line. Yes, it's not going to take that long. You can add whatever color you want. I'm just going to make it black just like we had it, and you can do whatever else you want. You can make this a dashed line if you want, just to show that it is an estimated value. And then you can always delete the color off of that other series. Now that you have these two, now that you have this, another thing that we need to make sure is we need to be able to format the trendline label by right-clicking and clicking Format Trendline Label right there. or met trendline label. We want to make sure you do number again, because we want to make sure we have that whole value instead of just having a scientific number. So now we have our elastic modulus, which is 11,300, which is pretty consistent with known values. So now we have that, you don't need to worry about that intercept. So this is really all you need. Now that we have that equation, and now that you have this, if you just kind of highlight over these points, you can kind of see where the data intercepts that line, and just kind of interpolate, go through your data, find where the best point is, and just change the values till you notice it intersects the line. Okay? That should help you guys with that.
Thanks.